another cool thing which has been enabled because of networks is something known as telecommuting. And telecommuting is the idea and the practice, it's the job of being able to commute to your work electronically. So instead of commuting in a car, getting in your car and driving to work, you get a telecommute. And so a lot of companies allow employees to telecommute today. And that means you don't have to drive into the office to do your work. You could be sitting at your office at home doing your work for your company, and that could look something like this. And so that's a really interesting area just in terms of employee management and telecommuting. So obviously, if you are running a company where all of your employees work on a commission, then who really cares if they come into the office or don't come into the office? The only thing that matters is whether or not they're making you money. And so that would be, when you look at like how can we manage employees or what kind of jobs are out there, one way you could categorize jobs or one way you could think about managing employees is you could either have a results-oriented type of management, or you could have a process-oriented type of management. And so those are like two ends of the spectrum. And on the process-oriented management, it's really focused on the process. And that would be like 8 a.m. you got to be in the office, you get lunch from 12 to 1, 5 p.m. you leave, right? And so that'd be a real process-oriented. It's focused on the process of what does work look like. A real results-oriented company would be like, we don't care when you work or what you do or where you are. All that matters is you get these results done. And if you're bringing those results in, fantastic. And if you're not, then we're going to have a talk. And really the true happy medium between those two poles is often some combination of the two. And finding that combination is a fine art. It's the fine art of management. I'm going to tell you about Google here in a moment and how amazing Google is at managing their employees. But what we're talking about is telecommuting. And yeah, and that's definitely a part of telecommuting. How do we manage the employee? But telecommuting, just in and of itself, means that you are commuting to work electronically as opposed to driving a car in. And so from a business standpoint, some of the advantages of that are like, we need less office space. You don't need as much office space. And right, because the office space is, the employee's home. And so you get to save money as a business because you don't have to have the infrastructure, the buildings, the desks, all of that stuff. Just listening to that noise, I guess I'll carry on. And what else can I say about telecommuting, right? So one of the other great benefits of telecommuting is that it gets, you could do your work anywhere, which is cool. One time I taught my online class from Bali, Indonesia over the summer, which was really quite awesome. I'd go surfing, I'd go to a cafe, log in, do my coursework, then hang out in the afternoon, the evening, and then do it all again the next day. And it was super fantastic. So telecommuting really allows you to avoid this type of commuting. And here's a little study. Here's a little study that was done about telecommuting, and always look at the source, and it's done by NetBase, which is an analysis on traffic from Twitter and Facebook between February 25th and March 1st. So who the heck knows what that source is, whether or not it's reliable. But 83% of people thought telecommuting works, 7% say it doesn't work, 7% say it depends, and 3% left jokes or something. So working from home means one thing: I don't have to hear the mindless banter of the idiots in my team. Productivity can always be monitored, and companies could save tons of money. So this is real results oriented. I'm giving myself a work break right now. I love working from home. And working from home is awesome because, there's a lot of time lost driving and even getting dressed. Like, check me out right now. You ready? Right? Nice shirt and shorts. I just have to look good from the waist up. So I don't even have to get fully dressed. Haven't even really, no, I did shower this morning and I brushed my teeth, but I have yet to shave. I'll do that before I go to the office. So it could save time getting ready for work. It could save time, having to drive to work. So that's a cool thing about telecommuting. 7% say it doesn't work. So hard to work from home, so many distractions. So some people really need that structure. And that is very true. Like, working from home is difficult because it's hard to separate home life from work life. And often it's like, can you hold Oliver for a minute? Or what are we doing for lunch? Or, oh yeah, okay, let me take that into the garage. And so that can be a difficulty. Many people get lazy at home. There's a widespread of abuse. You have to show up to innovate. Isn't it good to separate work and home? Those are all really good points. And the depend people say my productivity depends on my ability to work from home, but I'm not sure that's true. That's not true for everyone. Depends on the work and the job. Balance is the key to productivity. Jobs that don't require much collaboration can be done from home. Others can't. In the early 60s, the early 1960s called and they want their HR policies back. The president gets to work from home. I've been not using Yahoo since 2002 as a preemptive protest. Dear Cat, when I work from home, it's not an invitation for an all-day play date, whatever jokes. All right, so that's a little bit about telecommuting and some of the benefits your company's realizing from telecommuting: greater work productivity, access to more qualified staff, improves employee retention, improves employee health, reduces highway use, environmental benefits, decreases costs too, right? Because it could decrease like the cost of needing to have a building and all of that. The United States government has a website set up, Telework, which tries to promote telecommuting so that people drive less. You could go to careerbuilder.com, you could search for telecommuting jobs. You could go to Wikipedia and you can read about telecommuting, including some of the potential benefits, the environmental benefits, productivity and employee benefits, advantages and disadvantages of it all. There is a place in Fresno called Hashtag, and these places are all around the world. And they are virtual work environments. So if you are somebody who does a lot of telecommuting and you want to be in an office space for a little while to print or to collaborate, to meet with people, they're like office spaces that you could rent and you just drop in. And it's like, we have the conference room reserved from 12 to 2. And so you can meet with your team in person then, and then everybody goes back to their home offices. And so these virtual workspaces are places that you could rent on an ad hoc hourly basis to come in and do work, to meet with people, to work with people, or just to be in a work environment with other people. If you're tired of working by yourself and you need to go, hang out and work with people who are working, that might be helpful to create structure, motivation for you. My mom's office, she's a realtor, and they have empty desks. They're called virtual desks or something, where the telecommuters can come in and work in the office anytime they want and plug in their laptop. And so there might be like 10 desks, and there's like maybe 40 employees who have access to them. And finally, Yahoo, and before Google, I'm going to talk about Yahoo. Yahoo had, vacuum again. Yahoo had, and finally Yahoo, I'm going to talk about Yahoo before I talk about Google. And finally, Yahoo. I'm going to talk about Yahoo before I talk about Google. And Yahoo had notorious trouble with all of their telecommuting. And so their employees were able to telecommute and not come in. And what they found was they were paying people a ton of money to do not very much. And a lot of the employees took advantage of it and abused it. And so then they got a new CEO, Marissa Mayer, and she came in and basically said, no more telecommuting. You got to come into the office where we can monitor you and track you and make sure that you are doing what needs to be done. And so, some of the articles that were out there, like in Forbes, Marissa Mayer's misstep and the unstoppable rise of telecommuting, saying that she shouldn't have stopped telecommuting. And another one, Atlantic, says working from home can make you more productive, right? And so there's some criticism about her eliminating telecommuting from Yahoo. Marissa Mayer officially banned the company's employees from working from home, right? Here's the critical sentence: to become the absolute best place to work, communication, collaboration will be important, so we need to be working side by side. That's why it's critical that we are all present in our offices. And Google, I know Google, they have this phrase googly, and I'm not sure where they stand on telecommuting, but what googly means is that you are completely, insanely passionate, crazy, focused, intense, in love with what you are doing. That's what it means to be googly. And they only look for googly employees. And so if you are hardcore, dedicated, focused, working from home, working on the bus, working at work, just passionate about what you're doing, that's the type of employee Google wants. And so they make it a practice, from my understanding on the outside, to hire googly employees. And that's one of their hiring criteria. Are you googly? Are you passionate? Do you have conviction? Are you dedicated? Are you the type of person who's going to be doing this no matter what? Come hell or high water, you're going to be focused on this thing because you absolutely love it. If so, that's the type of employee Google wants to hire. And they have a really cool system where you have to badge in and badge out. So they've got they have an entire complex of buildings, right? I mean, let's take a look at it. Google headquarters. All right, so here's like basically, Google. These are the Google headquarters, and here's the Shoreline Amphitheater where they have concerts. And then so just like all these buildings here, a lot of them are Google. Not all of them are Google, but a lot of these buildings are Google. And so when you go to Google, where was it that I slept on the lawn? Like over here, I slept on the lawn, slept out on the lawn in front of one of these buildings one night. So we had an all-night hacker fest, and like at 2 in the morning, I just went outside and threw my sleeping bag out and slept on the lawn. But Google has this thing where you badge in and badge out of the buildings, and so they know what employee is where when they enter a building, when they leave a building, when they go from one building to another building, when they come back. So they have this entire system to track, how much are you in a building and not in a building, because you got to badge in to go in and out of buildings. And then they also have buses. They have like 110 buses that go all over the Bay Area, right? And the buses pick up their employees. They go to Santa Cruz, down here, and pick up employees. They go all the way up to Berkeley and Oakland and San Francisco. 110 buses that go all over the Bay Area. And they are sweet deluxe buses with leather seats and Google embroidered on the leather seat and Wi-Fi on the buses. And so the buses start picking their employees up at like way early in the morning, like 5 a.m. And then when you get on the bus, you badge in and you start working on the bus. You start doing your email and all that stuff. And so they know when their employees have badged in and when they've badged out. And the buses save their employees from having to sit in their own cars and waste time just listening to the radio as they sit in traffic, because when the employees are on the bus, it's like a virtual work environment. You can work right on the bus, and they're working right on the bus. And so that allows their employees to be more productive, and the employees don't have to drive to work. They get to use that commuting time to actually work. And I just think that's a really pretty amazing thing about Google. Let's just go back to the headquarters here. There we go. And let's see if we can't find one of the Google buses. Google Bus. Google Bus. Images for Google Bus. Yeah, so here are some of their buses, right? Here are employees maybe working on their way into work, doing stuff on their way into work. And here's one of their deluxe buses. Though that's kind of got some Chinese looking stuff on it. I'm not sure, I haven't seen that one. But that is what their buses look like. They look like that. There we go. They look like that. There's a Google bus. There's a Google bus, right? Picking up their employees in the Bay Area. And so that's another way that Google has sort of how Google has managed sort of helping keep their employees productive and commuting and telecommuting and tracking their employees and knowing which employees are doing what, when. So it's a pretty amazing company just from the employee management standpoint. Anyhow, that is a whole lot of information. And the main thing we're learning here is about telecommuting, and the advantages and disadvantages of telecommuting, and how it gets down to this thing of employee management. But even if you are an employee who's telecommuting, how it can be a struggle at times to be productive at home, and yet how it could save you a lot of time from commuting. It's an up and coming thing. It's kind of cool. One of the shifts we will see was that in the Industrial Revolution, we had a lot of centralization where people flocked to urban environments towards cities because that's where the jobs were. But now as we have telecommuting and more people can just work from anywhere in the world, we're going to see decentralization where your job could be located in San Francisco, but you can live wherever. And that's actually how my wife's job is, right? She works for a company in San Francisco, and she can work anywhere. She can live anywhere. So most of her stuff she does online, and then she also flies places to meet with clients. So it's kind of an interesting world, and that's telecommuting, and it's one of the new advantages, benefits, applications of having so many networks.